Today we're talking how to play solos, specifically how do you play solos over outside chords that are coming from another key. I'm going to show you 4 approaches that I use, so you're going to sound professional, melodic, you're going to sound like a total shredder, and have fun doing it. Then we're going to play them over a backing track. You can get tabs and backing track for this tutorial and all our tutorial by becoming a Patreon. Links in the note. New guitar every single Monday. Hit thumbs up. It does help the lesson. And additional links in the description if you want some one-on-one lessons. Guitar, brain, attention span. You got those 3 things. Follow me on in. Let's break it down. Today we're going to talk about playing outside chords. So what's an outside chord? It means essentially you have a chord progression that borrows a chord from another key. Something like along those lines. The very first thing that you got to do is know the outside chord. So we're going to play A minor over E7. Now we're going to assume that this song is in the key of A minor. So you got A minor, B diminished, C major, D minor, E minor, and G major. So the song, let's say, it uses all those chords, and there's one particular section that goes A minor, E7. The E7 is our outside chord. So what you want to do first is know the notes of your outside chord. The E7, we have an E, we have a B, D, and we have a G sharp. Now, if you think about the E minor, it's clear the outside note, or what makes it unique, is this G sharp note. So the G sharp note is what's going to affect the way we approach this. The first step just comes from the A minor pentatonic. Okay, you can use the A minor pentatonic over these outside chords as long as you kind of know what notes you need to be careful of. That G sharp is in the E7. So what notes do you want to watch out? Well, when the E7's playing, you really want to avoid that G note. Usually, notes that are half step apart, so 1 fret, like a G to a G sharp, are going to be dissonant or clash. Okay, so that note is what's going to give you problems. That means if you're using the pentatonic scale, all you really have to do is avoid this one note, the G note, when the rhythm goes to the E7. Let me give you an example. It sounds like this. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to slide 5 to 7 on our A string, drop down 5, 7, up to 5, and then back to 7. Do, 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 do. 1 and 2 and 3. That's just classic A minor pentatonic shape 1. That's all we're doing, right? Do, 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 do. Now, the E7 is approaching. We're going to play a triplet 7, 5, 7. And then we're going to land on the 5 on the first beat. 4 polar 1, 4 polar 1, 4 polar 1, 2, and then we're going to finish on the 7th fret. Now the 7th fret is an E note, and the harmony is an E7. So that note's going to resolve really, really nicely. If you don't know all the notes on the fretboard, if you don't know all the numerals and intervals and all that, that's fine, but it's good to know the root notes of your progression. So it's good to know I have an A note here, and right below it an E note. At the very, very least, it's good to know those root notes. Now, why does this lick work? Well, because once the song goes to E7, I'm avoiding the G. So I don't have any clashing sounds with the chord that's playing underneath it. The lick nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 polar 1, 2 and. So nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 polar 1, 2 and. Okay, so pentatonic Just be aware of the notes that are going to clash when you play your outside chord and avoid the clashing notes. That's all we're doing with the pentatonic scale. Now the next one is the whole A minor scale. We're in the key of A minor, so we have access to the entire minor scale. Five, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7. There it is. 5, 6, 8, 5. Now with the A minor scale, you have more options, but essentially the thinking is the same as we just did over the pentatonic scale, but a little more developed. You need to be aware of kind of the notes that are going to give you a bad sound. With that said, though, we have added a B note to the scale, and our E7 chord, if we remember our initial analysis, has a B note. So we're able to outline the chord a little better with the entire minor scale as opposed to the pentatonic scale. We're going to do a lick similar to the last one, so it's not very much a this lick lesson. It's a pay attention to the notes and how they interact with the chord while we slightly modify this lick lesson. You know, of course that's what you searched for. So it sounds like this. 5 slide 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. That's the same. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1. We're landing on the B note because, again, that's a chord chain or a chord tone. And we're landing on it right over the chord change as well. So it's going to really sit nicely when the E7 comes around. Up to 5. That's an E note. Back to 4. And then up to our D note. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and. The minor scale is always there. You just have to pay a little more attention to these notes. The two notes that are taken from the minor scale to make the minor pentatonic are the two most dissonant notes because of these half steps. Clashing half steps are where you get the most dissonance. So really that's what we're paying attention to, right? Now this C over the E7 going to give you problems too. These are little things to be aware of as you're taking your soloing to the next level. Start with the roots, trust your ear, and then work your way through the other notes in the chord. These are just ideas that you really need to take time to develop and practice. The next option we're going to do is just classic arpeggios. That means we're only playing notes in the chord. The A, C, E, 7th fret of our A string, roll over to 7, right there, our root. 5 on the G string, back to 7 on the D string. Now, if you want some more arpeggio exercises or you want to learn more about arpeggios, let me know. We do have other lessons because I think a lot of people, when they're soloing, they just go right to the scale and they skip the power of arpeggios, but they're very, very important when you want to make an articulate solo. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. From that 5, we're going to drop down to the 6th fret. This is the first time we played the G sharp. G sharp is in the E7. We're playing an E7 arpeggio. 7, E note, D in the E7, E, G sharp, B, D. It's our flat 7. Back up to E or root 2 times. So we get 1 and 2, well, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now, this is an arpeggio shape. The same way scales have shapes, your arpeggios have shapes. So you just have to learn to find the shapes and then kind of mix them with the scale. I would start with just arpeggio soloing over backing tracks and only using arpeggios without any scales before you start to mix them. Now, the last technique is just the same way we were mixing arpeggios, we can mix scales. We're going to use the harmonic minor. So A minor is your 1. When your 5 chord is a dominant, you can use the harmonic minor. Now, technically, I could use the harmonic minor over this entire thing, but I want to reiterate again, we're in the key of A minor, and this is just a piece of the song that uses the chord. There are songs where you could use that entire scale, but it's a modulation here. E7 is outside of our key, so we're going to treat it like it comes up outside of key, and that's why we would switch scales. The A harmonic minor moves the G up the G sharp, so you get 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 6, 7. 4, 5, 7, 5, 6, 4, 5. So we get if it sounds more like Arabian, it's because this is a very Middle Eastern sound. Harmonic minor is the scale that's prominent in both Middle Eastern music and as well as flamenco. So harmonic minor is worth exploring a lot on its own, but let's look at how we can mix it up. So our lick's going to sound like this. Okay, now we're finished on a B note. It definitely doesn't sound resolved. You would want to continue soloing, but let's explain why it works. 7, 5, 7 on the A string, back to our A note. Triplet 1, 1 pola 2 and 3, then 5, 7. 5, 7, 7, 7, 5, 7. Then we're going to go 7, 5, 6. Now we're officially in the harmonic minor as the song has changed to E7. 4 and 1 and 2 and we're just running down the scale in order. Well, I'm sorry, we're skipping one note. We're skipping the F note. If we added the F note, you would get, but without it. Finishing on that B note, which is a chord tone of our E7. So we get, put that together. Right? Triplet 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And that is how you would switch between the minor scale and the harmonic minor. Now, this is a thought process. Different outside chords are going to require maybe a different scale, but you still just want to figure out what your outside note is and then kind of figure out how can I play it with the pentatonic? How can I use the minor? How can I use arpeggios? Are there any other scales? And that's how I think about it. Hopefully it helps you. Keep on rocking and rolling. you have it, folks. 4 approaches to help you solo outside of the box and tackle these chords that come from other keys. Take your time, ask questions in the comments. I think that using the approach of a 1 minor and a 5/7 is the easiest way to do this, but it works with all these progressions. If you're soloing in an old ragtime and they're all dominant chords, or if someone modulates key for a measure, there's just all different ways to do it, but it's about understanding the notes in that chord and what potential sour sounds you can have and just avoiding the sour sounds. All right, catch you next Monday for guitar, ukulele Wednesday, Saturday. Take care, have a lovely day, rock and roll, life is good.